Right, what's happening, you lot? It's Jambo. The day I want to talk about Interstellar. See, Interstellar is one of the movies where if you say you didn't like it, people think you just didn't get it, which is mental to me because the movie explains itself constantly. Um, Interstellar doesn't really work for me, and it's not because it's dumb or anything. Um, but it's because it's trying too hard. It's trying to be smart and like meaningful, and it's really trying to be like revolutionary. So much so that it forgets to engage with the audience. It forgets to hold your attention, and it forgets to have emotion. um, and while it does do some things well, it doesn't nearly do enough to make it a good or even a mid movie. Interstellar is just bad. Right, the issue with the science. People love Interstellar because it's smart sci-fi, and honestly it is in the beginning, right? The science is really cool, black hole visuals are great, time dilation stuff, fantastic, right? But here's the issue, right? The movie wants to be realistic up until realism becomes inconvenient for them. Like eventually the movie just goes, what about the power of love?
It's the power of love.
Right? And I'm not anti-emotion in any way, right? I love it when movies and shows make you feel something, right? But only when it's done well. I take up my armour. I'm anti-explaining physics for 2.5 hours and then solving it. Genuinely solving the entire plot with feelings. It's imagine you were watching a show, a cooking show, right? And the chef has to carefully explain every ingredient, every technique for a very long 2.5 hours. And then at the end, they just chucks all the food in the microwave. It's unbelievably stupid. Right, and then another issue. See the dialogue, right? Nobody in this movie talks like a real person. Right? Everybody speaks as if they're in a movie that's going to be assigned to college students, which, granted, this movie is, but, right? They're trying too hard. Every line just sounds like it wants to be quoted. And if you're watching it, all you can really think about is, has anyone ever had an actual casual conversation? Genuinely, the dialogue, it feels like a TED Talk. Every discussion is about humanity, destiny, and the survival of our species. Aye. They don't talk about anything else, right? They don't, like, it genuinely, it just starts to feel like it's the same thing over and over again. It's exhausting, right? And really, all they need, right, is every now and again a sprinkle, somebody saying, look, this is bad, I miss my wains, I'm really scared, you know what I mean? Human stuff, sorry. That's what I need. No, they talk like robots. See, and another issue, the characters don't feel real, they feel like concepts, they're no people. They feel like ideas, rather than fleshed out characters. For example, Cooper's always right, Muff is either greeting or just annoyed at something until the plot needs her to be a genius. And don't get me wrong, she's always smart. But I think you're taking it a bit far when you're solving the hardest physics equation known to man. Right? Um, and then, you know, the worst part, the worst person, Dr. Mann. Oh, Dr. Mann, right? It's genuinely the least subtle character in cinematic history. His name is literally man, right? It represents fear, selfishness, and the idea that humans are the real monsters. Um, yeah, it's really interesting if he wasn't written like a Scooby-Doo villain with a PhD. None of the characters really surprise you. All they do is do what they need to do for the plot to keep going. That might sound dumb, but like there's nothing behind them. It feels very dry. Another thing you need to think about the movie's runtime, right? The movie is almost 3 hours long, and I'm not saying long movies are bad, right? Some of my favourite movies are quite lengthy, but Interstellar's long in a way that feels like you've wasted half your day. Do you know what I mean? Like, you sit there and think, is this still going? And you're 20 minutes in. You've still got another 2 hours and 40 minutes. And there's like a lot of it. There's like nothing happens. It's the same ideas repeated over and over again. They're saying the same stuff. They're explaining stuff they've already explained, stuff we already understand. Nothing changes. Right. It's the cinematic equivalent of saying, alright, but just one more thing for 45 minutes. At a certain point, you sit there and you're not confused about what's going on. You're just tired, but you don't want to turn it off because now you're 45 minutes in. It must start to get good at some point. But it just doesn't. It just doesn't. And the movie, I think it could easily lose an hour and a half, and it would improve dramatically. Not saying it would be good, but it would be an improvement. And yeah, space is very vast, but the movie didn't have to feel that way. Interstellar is really loud about its emotions, and you know, it's not necessarily a good thing. It really doesn't trust silence or subtlety, or restraint between the dialogue and the organ in the back. The movie really wants you to feel something, but it really doesn't work when you can't build an emotional connection to such dry characters and dry dialogue. You end up just liking the tune. That's it. And then you've got the ending, right? I don't hate the ending because it's confusing. I hate the ending because it undoes everything the movie builds up. It undoes all of its own stakes, right? The entire movie, you're told about how brutal space is and how unforgiving time is and how all this sacrifice matters. And then at the end it goes, actually, never mind, everything's fine, right? Don't worry, you're sound. Cooper survives, everything works out, you know, love wins. Woo! It feels like more of a happy ending to a storybook than, you know, an intellectual movie. Do you know what I mean? The movie refuses to commit to its own consequences, and even if you did like this movie, that alone should ruin it. And I don't know how anybody could like this movie. I don't understand how people worship it. I thought it was genuinely horrible. Right, I'll be nice, right, I'll be fair. Interstellar definitely does have strengths, right? And I know I've just said I don't understand how people can like it, but the strengths are not nearly enough for people to like it, right? The visuals are incredible, right? And the ambition the movie has is great, right? And the water planet scene, the sequence on the water planet, is really cool. I just really like the water planet sequence. That's the only part of the movie I like. There are moments in the movie that really work. They're really, buried under a lot of explaining and seriousness and a very, very long runtime, which is a shame because honestly, if you just released the water planet sequence, I'd have been happy. The rest of the movie is not great, to say the least. If you haven't seen this movie, don't. I don't get people like it. Right, but to wrap it up, I don't think Interstellar is bad because it's dumb. I think it's frustrating because it has potential, but it chooses, scale over subtlety, importance over intimacy, and length over momentum. The movie, I don't know, the movie just, it could have been really good. It could have been everything it wants to be, but it's just so dry and boring. If this movie does hit you emotionally, that's great, genuinely. I just wish it trusted the audience a lot more and was a lot shorter. Yeah, right. This was my first video, so if you enjoyed the video, please get a like, maybe even subscribe, give me a wee comment. If you want me to review anything else, that'd be great. I do plan on a couple more videos coming soon. But yeah, I'll see you next time I want to rant about something else. Thanks for watching. And yeah, I'm gonna go do literally anything because that would be better than watching that movie again for another 3 hours.